So the solution: correct education. To truly educate someone is to lead them out, which is the definition of education. Lead them out of the darkness of ignorance and into the light of knowledge. As a parent, it is our duty to teach our children how to understand themselves, how to understand reality, and to know the difference between right behavior and wrong behavior, moral and immoral. And education is less about what you memorize and more about what type of person you become. That is the solution. Teaching our children objective morality and how reality works. This is the parent's duty. You can't put this off on anyone else. You put your kids in public school or stick them on TV where they're hooked onto popular culture, right? You're not doing your job. You're not doing your parental duty. And that's what culture is, to cultivate. To cultivate what? To cultivate a certain state of consciousness. Just like Terence McKenna said, culture is not your friend. Conscious parenting wisdom. I categorized all the topic points about conscious parenting into 3 important ones that I wanted to talk about. And of course, there's mindfulness and, responsiveness instead of reactiveness. And there's all this good stuff. But we're going to talk about nature, morality, and responsibility. So with nature, we have objective truth. Yes, I said objective truth. There isn't an objective reality. It exists. It's our job to align our perception to which that is. This is nature. The word nature means from God, of and from God, meaning human beings did not create it. Morality, right versus wrong behavior. And responsibility. Responsibility is the ability to respond to what? To thoughts, emotions, and actions. Right? Parents need to understand what true responsibility is, because it's their ability to respond to themselves, to keep their thoughts in order, have have control over their emotions and their actions. And it's in that order. As I think, so I feel, so I act. And also, of course, the responsibility, the ability to respond to your children. It's very common to respond with emotion, right? And then you're coming from a place of ego, and you're not using logic and reason and communication with your child. Natural versus artificial. Probably the most important topic, because morality goes under this, is teaching your children the difference between natural versus artificial, real or fake. Natural meaning of or from God. Non-man-made. Artificial is man-made. We can use this in the natural world and within ourselves. Thoughts, we can look at society, right? The majority of people are in an artificial state of mind. The authority, the belief in authority, this is artificial. It's man-made. Man created it. It's a false axiom. It's considered self-evident, but it's incorrect. It's dogmatic belief, not based in logic or reason. And then, we have, diet, of course. I teach my daughter how to read ingredients on packages, which we 90% stick to the farm stands, and we eat, a lot of raw vegetables and fruits. She knows the difference when it comes to food. red dye 40, high fructose corn syrup, all this shit. It's all artificial. We need a balanced diet, a great diet. You got to feed your kids. It's the foundation of the body for psychological, emotional, spiritual stability is give your kids proper nutrition of the earth. Teaching children about the natural world should be seen as one of the most important events in their lives. And I agree with that 100%. This is your operating system. Teaching your kids the difference between natural and artificial is a lifelong study. But once you get to a certain level of understanding, which it's not hard, then you can use logic and reason and start to think about and see situations differently. This is your operating system, right? I put a book on there that I love, Give to Nature and Nature Will Give to You. And this is by Indica Martin. She's also a presenter here at Seed 4. It's a phenomenal book. One of the best books out there. It's got all the principles that we need to teach our kids. All the natural ingredients for a healthy mind and soul. And what's great about this book, I mean, obviously the visual aspect is phenomenal, but it allows for parents to expand on each segment and dive deeper and use that to increase the understanding through communication with their children. My daughter loves it. Phenomenal book. And the kids on the right, happy in nature. So natural law. Natural law is also a huge category because when you hear natural law, especially with my work and a lot of other people like Mark Passio and stuff, we're focused on a certain part of natural law, which is the laws of nature. Natural law is a set of universal, inherent, objective, non-man-made, eternal, and immutable conditions that govern the consequences of behaviors of beings with the capacity for understanding the difference between harmful and non-harmful behavior. Crucial information to study and to talk about. This is the causal factors. This is how you can use discernment. Once you have this information, you can use discernment on what morality is. But this is talking about the metaphysical laws. There's also the physical laws that most people know. Thermodynamics, magnetism, all that stuff. These are all the laws of nature, not created by man. The higher force put these here. And these are the boundary conditions of our reality. It's like knowing the rules. I don't like sports, but if you have a football game, if you don't know the rules, you're going to run the ball into the other team's end zone, right? So this is what natural law, the laws of nature, what they are for this reality. It's the boundary conditions. It's the parameters. You have to know this information. And this is the true authority. This is not non-man-made. This governs the consequences of our behavior. Here are some of the principles. And again, there's hours and hours on these principles. But I teach these principles to my daughter on a spiritual aspect, to know herself better. And also you can see these principles within nature themselves. Gardening, how the natural world operates with cycles, all this stuff. There's so much learning that can be propagated to children. I think I'm going to do a whole series on just natural law principles and teaching techniques. And of course, life skills for self-sufficiency. This is why people give up their power to government, is because they're dependent on government. We are raising good slaves to be dependent on an external source, government. We need to teach our children true intrinsic value, life skills. Public school doesn't even come close to any of these. Okay? The world is the classroom. Experience is the greatest teacher. If you need a curriculum, here it is. Teach natural law and life skills like gardening, woodworking, repair skills, sewing, raising animals, taking care of animals, cooking, all these basics. These are true life skills that you can start with children at a young age. And I went to high school. The one class that I actually appreciated was called consumer math. Weird title for a math course. But what it really was critical thinking. All about problem solving. I use that every single day, all day. So, and of course, if you're self-sufficient, you're not reliable on government or government institutions. And that pisses government off because governments can't profit from self-sufficient people. Learn how to think. Parents are sacrificing their children to public schools and these government institutions so that they can control, condition, and manipulate their minds with falsities. The parent needs to teach their child or parents how to think. And this method, which a lot of people in Seed are familiar with, I'm sure, is the trivium method, right? This is the threefold path to truth. This is a methodology of truth discovery, which enables an individual to learn how to think critically. This tool can help an individual to remove their erroneous belief systems and magical thinking and to come to an accurate conclusions about what is true and what is not true, including the truth about natural laws that govern human behavior. This is so important. Another topic that needs to be expanded on and adopted into families. Critical thinking, the trivium method. There's also the quadrivium and the pentivium. It even goes higher than that. I'm not going to get that deep, but the quadrivium goes into teenagers, preteens, and teenagers. The trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, or knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, you can start extremely young. So here's another slide that I made of the trivium method, right? We have input, which is grammar or knowledge. It's gathering the data from an eclectic array of sources without prejudging it. This will give you the answers who, what, when, where. This is the raw data. Step 2 is the processing, logic, or understanding. This is comprised of 3 basic substeps: filtration, correlation, and analysis. Enables us to learn why. What is the reason or meaning or purpose? Step 3 is the output, rhetoric, and wisdom. So speech and action based upon the knowledge that one gathered and understands. Knowledge and understanding are propagated so that real change can be created. And again, I'm using the computer jargon: input, processing, output, right? Take in the information, the raw data, you process it, and then you output it in your behavior. This is the same process on how reality is created, how beings operate. Our actions are dictated by the knowledge that we have occurred. If you have false knowledge, inaccurate lies and deception, then your output, your behavior is going to be incorrect or immoral.